Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to your own channel Medu Study. I am your friend Ashutosh from I am Indore, and as you all know, Medu Study is your own channel initiative in which we discuss various management topics and subjects in a very simple manner. Friends, our today's video is from one of the most liked and admired module, which is on strategic management. On strategic management, we already have good number of videos and we are on chapter number 6. If you remember, we are discussing strategy formulation functional strategy, and this is the third video. So we have already done 2 videos on it. If you have not seen those videos, or you can go to the Medu Study channel, in playlist you can go, and in playlist you can open video number 20 and 21, you can refer it. This is the last video in this particular chapter. After that we will go to implementation. Till now we are doing strategy formulation from last many videos, then we will discuss the strategy implementation. Friends, let us begin. First of all, let us discuss a topic, constructing corporate scenarios. So before constructing corporate scenarios, let us understand what are corporate scenarios. So basically these are pro forma estimated future balance sheets. So estimated future balance sheets and statements that forecast the effect of each alternative strategy and its various programs will likely have on the division corporate return on investment. So for example, you have shortlisted 3 different alternatives in your strategic plans. Plan A, strategy B, strategy C. Now all of them will have different financial impacts. Basis your cost, basis the returns, basis the inputs used. So you basically develop balance sheet and income statement for all these different strategies, so that you can evaluate what impact will each strategy bring, and then you can take a judicious call. How you do this? So 3 steps are there for constructing the scenarios. Use industry scenario to develop the assumptions about the task environment. Develop common size financial statement for previous years. Construct detailed pro forma financial statement for each strategic alternative. So there are 3 different alternatives. For each of them, you will be basically doing these scenarios. Next, let us discuss management's attitude towards risk. So how or what kind of attitude management has towards risk? First of all, what is risk? Composed not only of the probability that strategy will be effective, but also of the amount of assets corporation must allocate to the strategy and length of time asset will be unavailable for other use. So basically see these words which are in italics: amount of assets, length of time. Let us take example from an employee resource. For the those strategy, you are basically taking a person, deploying him in that particular strategy. So first says amount of assets. So how many such people, manpower you will be deploying in each alternative, and length of time they will be unavailable for other uses. So if you are taking that person for that particular work, for some time he will not be available, right? He will be doing that work only. So calculate the amount of time. For example, say 5 months, 6 months. So 3 resources for 6 months is what you are doing. That is the risk, because in that time their work can get impacted. This is what it basically refers to in when we say risk. Now there are 2 approaches which management can use. First is real options approach. When future is highly uncertain, it pays to have a broad range of options open. When you don't know in the future, best example is this COVID time. Working of style of people have changed, industries have changed, norm has changed, everything has changed, right? So you need to keep your options open. Today is a kind of, we can say, VUCA world. Everything is volatile, everything is uncertain, everything basically you cannot predict anything, correct? Complexities is there as well as ambiguity is there. Second important thing is net present value, NPV. It calculates the value of a project by predicting the payouts, adjusting them for risk and subtracting the amount invested. A very important method. My friends who are doing WorkX, they must have used some or other way, that is NPV. So anything will, that project when you launch, today you are investing some amount in it, right? You predict what payout it will give, adjust it for risk and subtract the amount invested, so that you can know what kind of payout it will give you and is it worth or not. If after balancing for risk and the amount invested you are not getting anything, payout is negative, then NPV you should not invest. Now that is why this approach of NPV becomes important. Stakeholder priority matrix. So there are different stakeholders which are there. First, let us discuss who can be different stakeholder. Greenpeace. Today you need to take care that your all efforts are sustainable towards environment. It should not be harming. Local communities, if you are setting up a factory, people living in and around that vicinity are local communities. Your customer for whom you are making those particular products, shareholders who are there, who are basically investing their money, you should be giving them returns, right? Creditors who are giving you money on the credit, federal government who is there. Now there can be two cases. How much interest those stakeholders have in the activity, and what is the relative power. So you will see the most important power and their interest is also high would be creditors and shareholders. Definitely so na. Someone who is putting their money, they will have stake also, basis the share they have that much percentage in say. So if particular one person has 30% share, you need to give importance to his decisions, right? He can even appoint some members on the board, and his interest will be there in corporate activities. In case of federal government, their interest in your activities are not there, but they have that power because they control those local policies. Because of this, many a times companies have to change their operations because of the state politics and all, correct? So you need to see this priority matrix for the shareholder before developing all these things. Questions to assess the stakeholders concerned. Now all of those stakeholders, this 5-6 stakeholders we saw in previous chart, can have different concerns. How to address? First, how will this decision affect each stakeholder? So you are taking different strategies. For example, for easiness, let us take strategy A, strategy B. So what effect will strategy A have on customer? What effect will strategy A have on shareholders, on Greenpeace, on government, on local communities? What effect will strategy B have on customer, on creditors, on government, and so on? How much of what stakeholders want are they likely to get under the alternative? So every stakeholder will want something, correct? For example, in those two options, one strategy is doing a proper manual setup and one is doing totally computerized setup, correct? In first case, when you're doing manual setup, local communities will be very happy because they're getting jobs. Federal government will be very happy that you are giving job to the local people, correct? In second options, that might not be the case, but your creditors, your customers, they will want that you give them product at speed, not take much time. So you need to balance all that. What are the stakeholders likely to do if they don't get what they want? In the case like we said, if you are doing for computers, local communities say no jobs for you because we are in this business, we want to make money. They will say okay, we will boycott you. You see how you can get operations. Somehow you will need help of local people, right? What is the probability that they will do it? Now many times local communities may threaten, but are they actually powerful? Do they have that much of time? Answer may be no. So you need to evaluate all this. These are the questions which you use to assess the concerns. Pressure from stakeholders. So political strategy, you need to handle this very carefully. Yeah? Plan to bring stakeholders into agreement with corporate actions. So you follow political path, you do lobbying with them, liaising with them, whatever required, so that they are in sync with your plans. Constituency building, political action contributing, advocacy, advertising, lobbying, coalition building, all these are basically done, are examples of political strategy. Pressure from corporate culture. Many times it can happen that your own company's culture is not in favor. If there is little fit, management should decide. So it basically becomes a question in front of management. Now there can be 4 alternatives. First, take a chance on ignoring the culture. See, change is the only constant. We cannot just focus on culture and we want to do that improvement. Okay, let us go ahead. Manage around the culture and change the implementation plan. Keep culture in place. No, culture is culture. Change the plan. We will change some other alternative. Try to change the culture to fit the strategy. See, everything relaxes, whether it is human, whether it is family, whether it is company. Let us relax our culture a bit. Like for example, the cultural practices, rituals which our grandparents used to follow got relaxed, what our parents are following. Tomorrow we will relax it further, and after 4-5 generation, many things will vanish away. Okay, change the strategy to fit the culture. No, our culture is fixed, we have to change the strategy. These are basically 4 different things which a management would decide in case it is feeling that the fit is less. Process of strategic choice. So what is a strategic choice? Evaluation of alternate strategies and selection of the best strategies. So we are evaluating all the strategies and select which is best out of them. Failure almost always stems from the action of the decision maker, not from bad luck or situational limitations. There is your exam tomorrow, but today is FIFA World Cup final. You are watching that World Cup final, enjoying. You are not studying. Tomorrow in exam, you do not remember anything, and it basically crashes. My luck is bad. Every time it happens like this. But you are not seeing that it happened from your actions. If you would have studied, performance would have been better. So there are 4 criteria for evaluating the alternative. First is mutual exclusivity. They should be exclusive from each other. You remember those circles, different, different, different. That is mutual exclusivity. What are the chances of success? That is the second parameter. What is completeness? How they complete each other, and what is the internal consistency that is maintained. Avoiding the consensus trap. To avoid consensus trap, consensus means okay, he is saying let us all follow. No, that should not be the case. Sometimes it happens that he might not be saying correct. So first method is devil's advocate. Assigned to identify potential pitfall and problems with proposed alternative in formal presentation. It may be an individual or a group. So there are 10 members. One person is avoided a devil's advocate. His job is basically whatever suggestion you give, way you give, he will say no, this will go wrong, no, this will go wrong. So basically he is being devil's advocate. Many times you would have seen that the boss in the company, the business head, the CEO, he works as devil's advocate. He does not want you to stop from doing work or from exploring, but he wants to see that you are also aware of all the probable risk, I would say, probable concerns that might arise. Dialectical inquiry requires 2 proposals using different assumptions be generated for each alternate strategy. So for strategy A, strategy B, change different assumptions and make different plans. So take one assumptions, COVID might come again, one assumption, no, COVID is gone, make the plan. And today many companies are doing it. See, because first wave was there in 2020, everyone thought it is now over. 21, let us plan aggressive. 21 again it took. 22 starting again, third wave of Omicron came. So now every company is keeping in mind all these things and accordingly generating multiple alternatives. This is the second approach. Using policies to guide strategic choices. So 3 things should be there. Effective policy forces trade-off between competing resource demand, test the strategic soundness of particular action, set clear boundaries within which employees must operate while granting them freedom to generate, experiment within those constraints. These are the 3 things. And friends, this is all from today's video, and this particular chapter also, 6th chapter, which we did in 3 videos, video number 20, 21 and today's 22. If there is any feedback or suggestion, my dear friends, you can write on our mail ID, which is meedu.study@gmail.com, or in the comment section. If you are liking our content, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Take care.